Our celebrations, as I said, this is the last 2 days of celebrations for this month, okay? So what I wanted to show you today to start with is in the back of the catalogue you have the Joining Up program. Now this is because this is the last 2 days of celebrations, these are the last 2 days you can join up Stampin' Up under me. Sorry, can't get my words out, and receive the free lot of DSP. So if you join up now, it's $169 and you'll get $235 worth of product, but you will also get these 5 packs for free of Designer Series paper. Now this is the range that will be coming out with the new annual catalogue when that comes out in the next few months. Now they retail for $20 a pack, so that's a savings there of $100. So really worth your while. Besides getting this, what you get is you join my team and I will help you to navigate your way through the starting up of Stampin' Up. And we have team meetings, get-togethers if we can, but if we can't, we can always try to do Facebook Lives and Zooms together. So think about it if you want to join my team. Remember, it's only $169 and you get $235 worth of product of your choice, okay, plus all of these beautiful papers. Now we're going to be using the Brights collection out of this today, so that is right there on top, this range of paper. So we're going to be using some of these beautiful papers today in what we're going to make. Let me just pop all those to one side because we don't need those anymore. And the catalogue. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to make an Easter treat box. So I've made one here. That's, sorry, something just fell on the floor. So this is the little box that we're going to make today. And I've got 3 beautiful young girls living next door to me. And each Easter, I love to give them a little Easter present. So what I've done for this year is I'm making up 3 of these boxes and I'm going to fill them with Easter eggs. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you today. So let me just show you the products that we're going to need. So let me pop that to one side. So what we're going to be using, now didn't your parents ever tell you to never fold the corners of your book? Sorry, I had to today. Okay, so we're going to be using the Love You Always treat boxes, which is in your mini catalogue, and then you get 10 boxes for $15.75. And as you can see, they are a really good size box. They're about 10 centimeters by 4, I think, if I remember correctly. So I don't have a ruler here with me to measure that properly for you. I'll double check in a minute off the grid paper. We are also going to use, if we turn over to pages 31, we're also going to use the Pretty Perennials dies. We're just going to use one stamp, the For You stamp from the stamp sets, but we're going to use the dies. So in some ways this box is done a little bit similar to what we did last week in the card last week using the other die set. So we're going to be using just these dies. Now just to show you what's in these dies, there's a huge number of dies here and they coordinate with the stamp set. So you get this large die here which cuts out the large flower, but then you also get all of these lovely little intricate pieces here that are extras. Okay, so you get this lovely leaf. You've got other pieces here which cut out other parts of the stamp set. There's another flower, cuts out another flower from the stamp set, but you've still got these extra little leaves here, this little centerpiece, and this little piece. So the pieces we're using today, we're going to use this one, that, 2 of those, and these large flower dies. I won't try to lift that up. and we've got these little flat leaves here which I've also used. Now I have all pre-cut all this out just to make it easier for us. And the other product that we're using is in our annual catalogue. Now unfortunately I didn't bring my annual catalogue out with me, but it is the glimmer paper in the rainbow colours. So they're pretty much all your brights. So you've got your sort of like your granny apple green going into your Bermuda bays, and then into all those lovely deep, gorgeous grape, melon mumbo, right through into your oranges, and then so probably mango melody and daffodil delight. So lots of lovely colours in there. Now you could cut the whole lot out and use the whole lot. But what I've done is I've picked certain areas. So with that little leaf, that one there, I've cut it from that area there with this leaf, and you get that beautiful variation or variegated leaves. So let me just remove all of this and let me get rid of this book so you can actually see this better, because you can't see it underneath all of that. A little bit of white cardstock here. So you can see there we've got that lovely variegated colour. So I've gone through and using those dies, I have just cut out some of these beautiful pieces here. So this is what we're going to use for our flowers. And a couple of little leaves which still need some of the centre pieces pulled out of it. And then out of a piece of basic black, I've just cut that centre stamen piece. So there, all the little bits and pieces we're going to use. Now first up, what I thought I would share with you is the measurements. Or actually we might have a look at the box and put the box together first. So this is how your box comes. It'll come in a pack like this, and inside here you have 10 each of your sleeve, which you can just fold out like that. That's the sleeve, and then this piece here which actually forms your base of your box. So let me show you how to put this together. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fold all of these score lines. Just go around and fold all those score lines. So, and then with this piece here, I'm going to fold that piece in, and then I'm going to actually fold this little lip out. And you'll see the reason why I'm doing that in a moment. Then this side here, fold in, fold in. These pieces here, I'm going to fold in and then fold out. Fold in, fold in, fold out. Whoops, that way. Okay, let me show you how this all goes together. So I face my box with that long piece going away from me. I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to bring in these two sides here, and you've got these side tabs here, and we're going to bring those in. So we're going to bring those in. Now let me just push that backwards so you can actually see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to take one of these side panels, bring it up, fold it over those two tabs, and then this little piece here is going to fold up or fold flat, so it's coming along. So that's all holding those side tabs. So let me show you that again. We're going to bring those two pieces in, bring that piece up, take it over and fold it like that. And then we do the same with the other side. Just holding that all in together. At the moment it still pops out a little bit, and then pop that in like that. So you should have, hope you can see it, but I've got those two little pieces are coming out there. Now this piece here at the front, what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to hold those two pieces and I'm going to push that down and then lock that into place. Okay, so that's going to hold all of that nice in there for us. But we've still got this piece here. So with this piece, we're going to, over the top, push it down, so then you're folding that down, and then that other piece will go to the base, and it will just click in down the bottom. And that forms the base of your box. And then you've got your sleeve, and that will just slide on just like that. Okay, now measurements of this box. So the length of this box is 10 centimeters, and the width of this box is, I've got to try to remember this because I did have it all written down, 7 centimeters. So let me just write this down because I had it all written down elsewhere and I don't have it here handy. So we've got across the top here, that way, is 10 centimeters, and the depth of our, or the width of our box is 7. So going in this direction, it's 7 centimeters. Don't worry, I am going to cover that all up, so that doesn't matter. So the side of our box is also 10 centimeters across, and then the depth of our box is, it's actually 3 point, I think I worked it out today, it was 3.7 centimeters, okay, through there. So I need to cut a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut my cardstock 1/2 centimeter narrower all the way around. So I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock at 9.5 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters. So that's going to give me my mat underneath. So I've got to cut 2 of those. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it for the top and I'm going to do for the bottom. Then your side pieces, I'm going to cut it at 9.5 centimeters by 1/2 centimeter less than that is 3.5 centimeters. 3 millimeters, 5, 6, 7, no, 3.4. So I'm going to leave it at 3.5, makes that a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 of that. Now what I did for that is I've used half a piece of A4 cardstock will do all of that. Let me grab my paper trimmer. So as I said, our box is 10 centimeters wide. I'm going to cut this 9.5 centimeters. So what I've done here is I've got an A4 piece of cardstock and I've cut it in half. So that's 14.9 centimeters in my width. But I only need a piece at 10 centimeters. Actually less than 10 because we want it at 9.5. Okay. Oh, I was right in the first place, sorry. Okay, I have actually cut this too narrow. Just hold on 1 second. I am just going to go and see if I can grab another piece of this cardstock. Won't be one moment. I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. And I've brought my measurements with me back this time. So our box is actually, 10.5 centimeters by 7 centimeters. So I've got my A4 piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to cut my cardstock in half because I like to cut it in half. And then I know I've got the exact amount I need for a card base. It's actually 10.5, so we need to make this 10 because we're going to make our mat 10 centimeters wide. Remove that piece. Then it is 7 centimeters deep, so it's 7 centimeters that way. So I'm going to cut this at 6.5. Now I need 2 of these pieces. So 1, 6.5, 2, and our depth of our box is actually, so it's 10 wide by 3.8. Okay, so what I've cut that at is 10, because I've still got that 10 centimeter strip bit of that left, and I'm going to cut this at 3.5. That's just half a centimeter. Is that right? Let me just have a double check. Don't want to do this again. Yeah, cut it at 3.5. So I think I ended up treating this because it was so close to being 4 centimeters. So 3.5 and 3.5. Let's just double check that and make sure. Yep, that's beautiful. So as you can see there, it just gives me that nice little white border all the way around. Okay, now designer series paper. So I need 2 sheets of your 6-inch wide designer series paper, and I'm going to pop them both together and cut these together. So I want to have these a little bit narrower than our mats that we've just cut. So we cut our mats at 10, so I'm going to cut these at 9.7. So I'm going to cut them both together, and I'm going to cut down at 9.7, and we don't need those pieces. Now, still keeping these together, I'm going to cut again at 3 millimeters narrower. So we've got 9.7. I'm going to cut 2 at 6.2. So I've got these both together. So I only need to do this cut once. So 6.2. Sorry, there's a bit of glare coming in here, which is there. And then I need my 2 side pieces, which I'm going to cut at 3.2. Because I cut the other piece at 3.5. Oh, it makes it so much easier when you've actually got your measurements written down in front of you. Sorry, I had it all organised to do it using my webcams and had the measurements and everything all printed up for you. So if I fit that on there, that's just going to be 3 millimeters narrower. So that's all our cutting for that. So let me just remove our trimmer. And we're now going to start putting this together. So you'll need your multi-purpose glue, which I find is the easiest one to use. So I've got mine here. And I'm going to start with my bases. Whoops, it's a new one, so let me just take that off. Okay. Just going to add some glue on there, and I'm not adding too much because I really don't want it to ooze out. I just want a little bit of slip, and then we're just going to pop those mats on there. Push that all down, just make sure that glue is right. You should have a little bit of slip with using the multi-purpose glue to allow you to get that into the right position. Let's pop that to one side to dry. Let's put a bit of glue on this side. And I'm not really worrying too much about matching my stripes all the way around, or because it is a diagonal. There is a little bit of difference, but no one's going to notice whether everything all matches up. Let's just move that a little bit that way. Probably could have taken the glue a little bit closer to the edge. Some on that one. Going to slip this into position. Now I will post this video onto YouTube in the next few days. I'm sorry I didn't get around to posting last week's one as yet. I have just been, as I said before, we've been just doing a few little trips, little day trips around the place. Going to little villages we haven't been to for a long time or had never been to before. Just want to check them out. But we'll catch up with my YouTube videos hopefully this week, once my husband goes back to work and everything goes back to some sort of normality. Okay, so that are all our pieces done. So now we're just going to glue those to the box. So again, just putting some glue on the back of your mat. Hi Shelley, how are you? And we're just going to attach that. Whoops, don't slip it around. Let's just take that out off and try that again. Sometimes you can have a little bit too much slip. Okay, that's better. And then we want to put the other one onto the bottom. Just hold it there for a few seconds just to let that start to get tacky and take. Now what's the easiest way to work out what's your top and what's your bottom? There's a join where this cardboard sleeve is wrapped around and there's a join there. I always put my join at the bottom, so that's going to be the bottom of my box. So now let's put our sides on. Now these boxes would be great for a little gift. As I said, you know, chocolates, Easter eggs like we're doing here today. They are a nice little size. So that's our box now all covered. So there's my join there, and I'm going to make that the bottom of my box. So there's the top of my box and my sides. So now what I'm going to do is I've got this beautiful ribbon, and this is my last piece of this. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to pop that around the box, and we're just going to tie a bow. Now it can be a fairly generous sort of bow. You don't want to make it too small. I've made it very generous, and because this is such a soft ribbon, I'm tying this into a double knot because you won't see it. Just be careful you don't stretch your ribbon too much like I've just done. And I am going to tie fairly generous type of bow. Once you're happy with your bow and the size of it, you can trim. Grab my scissors and trim these tails down a little bit. Now I am going to move that down a little bit on my box, and I will move it back up into another position in a moment. So now I've got my little die cuts that I've already die cut out earlier today, all these little pieces, and we're going to pop these pieces on. So I'm going to start with my leaves and just add a little bit of glue just down. Don't want to add too much because it will ooze out. I'm just sort of pushing that down there a little bit and up just on that lower part of the stem, because I don't mind having that, and have that stem sort of going over a little bit. Now, if you get a bit of glue oozing out in this area, don't worry too much about it, because we are going to be adding flowers on top of that. So just position that where you want that one to go. And because you've cut this out of the variegated paper, you've got that beautiful variegation of colour from the greens through to the blues. Then we've got the second one. I'm just going to again pop that underneath. Just going to pull that out just that little bit more. Okay, once I'm happy with where that's positioned, then I can bring that ribbon back up to where I want it to be. That knot just about there. And even that knot's going to get hidden a little bit in a minute. So there's our leaves. So we'll let that dry. And then we're going to grab our flowers. And we've got these outline pieces here. So let me just pop some glue on there. And again, we're just going to glue that straight down over the top. I'm not worrying about the glue oozing out there a bit. Oops, let me just use my scissors just to move that back into the position. Now I have found that this paper needs a little bit longer to dry, so I'm going to also put a bit of glue on the back of this and glue this flower together. And just pop out finish popping out these little pieces on these leaves. Don't want them there. Let's remove all of that. Now while I'm just waiting for that to dry a little bit, let's just put the lid on that glue so the glue doesn't dry out. We're going to stamp our sentiment. So we've only just got the one small sentiment from the stamp set, and all I'm using here is For You, and I'm using the Memento black ink, and I'm just going to stamp For You just there like that. I'm going to bring in my little mini paper trimmer. And we're going to trim this down. So I just want to, so at this point here, I'm also, if I've stamped it a bit crooked, I can straighten it up a little bit. I like to use the edges of my tool here to hold your cardstock down as my guide. I'm going to flip that over and roughly cut it about there. Okay. So just at the one side of this, I'm just going to cut that at an angle. Cut that one there. And I'm going to pop a dimensional onto the back of that. Now again, I don't mind that dimensional hanging out a little bit because it is going to get all tucked in underneath. So that's ready to go. So let me have a look at these flowers again. It's not quite dry. You can tell the glue's still white, but we can add a couple of dimensionals on the back here. Now I am going to add my dimensionals fairly close to the center because I do want to add some bits and pieces around it. So I want to be able to allow some room to tuck another flower in underneath and so forth. And plus this is going to sit over the top of that ribbon. So I'm just going to pop that over the top of that like that and push that down. Now at this point here you could sort of play with your ribbon a little bit, and I think I'll leave it like that actually. You can bring them forward a bit, you can froof it up a little bit. These two little leaves here. Just going to put a little bit of glue on the point here. And this is where you might need something like a pair of tweezers, just to tuck those into underneath there. This one as well. Hoping these girls will really love this. A little bit of bling, which is I think all little girls like. Put the other one into there. Now I may even put a small dimensional onto there later, underneath there later on, just to bring that down because it's sitting up a little bit. We'll see how we go. So we've still got this other flower here, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue in the center. Lift this flower up and we can just tuck that in underneath there. Just hold that down for a few moments. Just take the backing off the back of our dimensional on our sentiment, and we'll pop that underneath. Whoops, just grabbing a little bit. Underneath, coming off there. Lovely, almost done. So now I'm going to grab these lovely black matte dots and add a couple of these. Actually, I'll use, it's a bit easier with this. So I'm going to add one there, big one in the center, and then another small one just over here. So there you go. That's our gift box done. Let me just remove all of this from around. So these are my 3 boxes that I've created for the young girls that live next door to me, and they will be filled with Easter eggs for them. So I hope you've enjoyed my project today. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more organised and no more errors. Anyway, that's how it goes here with me. Have a great day. We'll catch up with you later. Bye for now.